Punk Revolution now. Hey everybody, I just got home from the Met, the museum in New York City, and I went obviously to see their rock and roll exhibit. They're currently having a what's it called? It's like the play it loud, the instruments of rock and roll. They're having a rock and roll exhibit where they're showing off some old fancy rock and roll instruments, basically guitars of famous rock musicians throughout the history of rock and roll. And as a rock connoisseur, I thought it would be interesting to do my review of the exhibit. So here we freaking go. First off, I want to say, starting with getting to the exhibit, it was a very difficult exhibit to find in the museum. It was like kind of like awkwardly placed. I don't even fucking remember where it was, but it was like hard to find, off to a bad start. But when I finally did get there, the first thing you see is Chuck Berry's guitar, which I think that's a good start to the exhibit because Chuck Berry, in my opinion, was the inventor of rock and roll. He wasn't the very first person to play what is like broadly defined as rock and roll, but I mean like he was the first person, in my opinion, to like really just fuck his guitar and just fucking yeah, like real rock and roll. He was the first real rock and roll musician, in my opinion. So good place to start. And then after that, they of course had a lot of like 50s guitarists, like blues guitarists, guitars, you know, some of the predecessors of rock and roll, which, you know, of course you got to show that. But then just kind of moving on, it just kind of like degraded into sort of like a, you know, freaking like Jimmy Page, the Beatles, Eric Clapton, and not really much else. It kind of just felt like a fucking hard rock cafe. It became so one-dimensional. It was so lazy. It was just so freaking lazy. Like, you know, obviously, of course, you gotta put, you know, Eric Clapton and the Beatles and, you know, Jimmy Page in there, but you don't have to make it, like, the majority of the fucking exhibit. You know, like, let me just read a list off the top of my head of some extremely famous rock bands that were not freaking mentioned at all in this exhibit. Joy Division, The Cure, Frank Zappa, Captain Beefheart, Pavement, Dinosaur Jr., Arcade Fire, The Strokes, David Bowie. Look, I'm not even that big of a fan of a lot of those musicians I just named, but like you see what I'm saying here is that like these are some fucking major bands for people who actually enjoy music, actually listen to these bands. But no, they didn't include any of that. It was so one-dimensional, so fucking uncreative, so lame, so boring, so fucking hard rock cafe. And, you know, like, I had a feeling it was going to be like that, but I was hoping maybe it would be better because the Met is a renowned institution that actually cares about artistic merits, so maybe they would make them this exhibit kind of like artistically valuable, you know, something that's going to be stimulating for people who actually give a shit about music. But no, it was a fucking hard rock cafe, lazily slapped together. Just how many fucking Jimmy Page guitars can we throw into one exhibit? Really fucking disappointing. I mean, there was some cool stuff. They had a really cool Metallica guitar that looked like fucking, it was made out of fucking steel or something. And they had a really fucking dope Kim Gordon bass guitar that she used during the Confusionist Sex era. It was like super like busted and had like a Confusionist sex sticker on it. So that was kind of cool. That was cool, but like overall, shame on you, the Met. I'm giving this a 3 out of 10. That was lazy. That was lazy, and like for people who actually enjoy music, this is gonna suck. It's not gonna be that fun. I mean, I guess it's still fun to like look at old instruments. That's always fun, but like, come on, the Met, you can do better. So fuck you, Punk Revolution now. I want to fucking get my guitar in the fucking exhibit. You know, I'm recording my album this week, so hopefully after that, the Met will be knocking on my door instead. So that's all I gotta say about that, Punk Revolution now.